Hi, Mr. Recaps here. The film is set in a poor kingdom in a remote location, and it is noticed that the people of the kingdom are suffering from poverty and a severe shortage of natural resources and food to the point that they are stealing food from some of them. Princess Ellie and her sister Flora work like the rest of the population to help the inhabitants of the kingdom face difficult living conditions. Ellie and her sister notice the arrival of a luxury car visiting the kingdom, and Ellie's father, King Byford, and his wife welcome a woman belonging to the kingdom of Uriah. The woman gives Byford a letter from the Queen Lisa, who is considered the Queen of Oria. She tells King Byford in the letter that she would like to marry her daughter Princess Ellie to her son Prince Henry. King Byford tells his daughter Ellie that the kingdom of Oria is very beautiful, and she will be happy there. Moreover, Queen Lisa and her son Prince Henry have a large fleet of ships and a lot of gold which will save the inhabitants of the kingdom of poverty because they will not be able to resist hunger while waiting for spring. King Byford explains to his daughter Princess that kings and princes must sacrifice themselves for the sake of their people. Princess Ellie finally agrees and then travels with her father on the ship to the kingdom of Oria. Flora notices that her sister Ellie is sad and asks her why she is sad. Ellie responds to her sister saying that she had never heard of the kingdom of Oria before and she did not wish to marry without love. The ship enters a large cloud of fog, indicating that they have reached the kingdom of Oria. Everyone is scared after seeing a fire in the fog. Then they notice a huge dragon, but they discover that the dragon is just a statue. After the ship arrives on the shore of the kingdom of Oria, King Byford and Princess Ellie ride in a luxurious royal carriage. Princess Ellie is impressed by the beauty of the kingdom of Oria and the farmlands that adorn it. After arriving at the royal palace, the butler welcomes King Byford and his family and offers them rooms in which they can take a break and preparing to meet Queen Lisa. Princess Ellie is impressed by the beauty of her room and enjoys the view of the kingdom from the balcony. Ellie sees a girl her age and tries to smile at her, but sadness appears in the girl's features, despite her smile. At night, Ellie is worried and cannot sleep. Then she goes out to the balcony of her room and is surprised when she sees a fire coming out from inside the cave that is on the mountain. The next day, Ellie and her family members meet Prince Henry and Queen Lisa who welcome Ellie and are impressed by her beauty. Henry asks Ellie if she would like to know any information about him. Ellie responds to Prince Henry by saying that she agreed to marry him and that she doesn't need to know any more information about him. She also tells him that she couldn't have chosen to marry him because her kingdom is very poor and agreed to sacrifice her happiness in order to save the people of her kingdom. Henry also surprises her when he tells her that it was his mother Lisa who forced him to marry. The two ride horses and run through the farmlands until they reach the mountain. Ellie asks Henry about the fire coming out of the mountain that she saw last night. Henry responds by saying that the fire represents a special celebration of the customs and traditions of the kingdom of Oria, and two other celebrations will take place at the same location in honor of their ancestors. We return to King Byford, who comes sadly out of Queen Lisa's room, and his wife asks him if he disagrees with Queen Lisa on the details of the wedding. Byford tells him that the wedding is happening so much so that the queen gave him a great treasure of gold. Byford's wife asks him why he is sad, but Byford gets angry with her and refuses to answer her question. Byford's wife asks Queen Lisa to check on Ellie's future at the palace, but Queen Lisa treats her with arrogance and makes fun of her. At night, Byford's wife tells Ellie that her marriage to Prince Henry is a big mistake, but Ellie is surprised by her words and asks her what exactly she means, especially since her mother-in-law was happy with her marriage. Byford's wife tells Ellie that she was wrong to marry Henry because she is uncomfortable with Queen Lisa's actions and senses something suspicious. But King Byford interrupts them, and Ellie and his wife pretend that they are talking about girls' affairs. The next day, the servants help Ellie to put on the wedding dress made up of several pieces. Ellie is surprised because she is wearing a princess dress for the first time and is surprised when the servants put a coin in the shape of a knife and a chain inside, which is a fragrant gemstone. The wedding ceremony begins, and Henry and Ellie put on the wedding rings. Then Queen Lisa puts the royal crown on Ellie's head and announces to everyone that Ellie has officially become the princess of the kingdom of Oria. Ellie says goodbye to her father and his wife, kisses her sister Flora, who promises to visit her, then goes with Henry in the royal carriage to the mountain and is surprised to find Queen Lisa and a group of members of the royal family waiting for them, who put masks on their faces. Ellie discovers that she is at the Second Kingdom celebration, and Queen Lisa presents her with a coin. Lisa tells Ellie that she will join a lot of girls who helped her build the kingdom. Then Ellie enters the cave that is in the mountain and walks across a long bridge. Lisa tells Ellie that her grandparents' parents discovered that there was the last female dragon living in the mountain and was attacking the people of the Kingdom of Auria and killing a large number of them. Lisa says that the king of the Kingdom of Auria entered with his soldiers into the cave that is in the mountain to fight the female dragon and protect his people from her. But the female dragon killed all the soldiers of the king and condemned the king to a fate worse than death, where she asked him to give her his 3 daughters as an offering in exchange for allowing his people to live safely on the land of the kingdom. The king was forced to accept his request. Queen Lisa celebrates 3 celebrations in memory of the king's daughters who were eaten by the female dragon. Lisa grabs a knife and cuts Henry and Ellie's hand with a small wound and asks them to hold on and states that the blood flowing in Ellie's veins is the blood of the royal family. Lisa asks Ellie to throw a coin down the mountain to end the ceremony. Henry holds Ellie in his arms and asks her to trust him. Ellie is very happy because she is experiencing a romantic moment for the first time in her life. Suddenly, Henry apologizes to Ellie and throws her down the bottom of the mountain. Ellie screams while hitting tree branches, then she loses consciousness and wakes up again and finds that she is bleeding a lot of blood from a head injury. Ellie screams with all her might to get help, but no one answers her, and then she tries to climb the rocks to get out of the place, but fails. Suddenly, Ellie sees a dress, shoes, and jewelry and understands that a girl was sacrificed before her, and Ellie is sacrifice number 2 that Lisa makes to the female dragon. Ellie sees a light coming out of a small passage in the cave. Then she tries to catch up with the light source and finds herself inside another cave and sees a bird surrounded by fire and dies immediately. Then a large group of birds appear which are surrounded by fire and also die because of the fire, and the sight terrifies Ellie. But what increases her horror is the sudden appearance of the female dragon. Ellie tries to hide behind the rocks, and the female dragon asks her name. Ellie answers her normally and asks her what she wants from her. The female dragon tells Ellie that the royal family should pay the price and tells her also that she feels the blood of the royal family flowing through Ellie's veins. Ellie eventually realizes that Queen Lisa mixed her blood with Henry's blood to sacrifice her. The female dragon asks Ellie to run away because she loves her victims while they run away from her, then preparing to take fire out of her mouth. But Ellie enters a small cave to avoid the fire of the female dragon and is horrified when she sees the body of the girl she met on the balcony of her room. Then she tries to escape from the fire and enters a narrow hole in the cave and comes out from the other hole before the fire of the female dragon reaches him. Ellie is suffering because the fire of the female dragon gets caught in her foot. Then she uses the knife that is in her dress and cuts part of the dress and attaches her foot to it. Then opens the chain that is in the gemstone and uses it as a lamp to light her way inside the cave. But the lamp goes out after she reaches a small tunnel. Ellie gathers her strength and heads towards a bright place, but discovers that she is standing on the edge of a mountain. She tries to climb the rocks to reach the top of the mountain and discovers that the light source is small larvae. Then she takes a group of larvae and puts them inside a piece of her dress to make a lamp of another kind. Ellie continues her path inside the cave until she reaches a lake and tries to drink the water, but discovers that it tastes bad. Then she sees the snow rocks and opens her mouth to drink the water drops falling, and suddenly, the snow melts quickly because of the fire of the female dragon, which melts the snow rocks quickly. Ellie quickly escapes and falls into a hole in the cave and finds around her a number of dresses of the princesses who were sacrificed, and also finds the names of the princesses carved on the walls and a map showing the way to get there. Escaping from the cave, Ellie feels tired and in pain because of her injury, then falls asleep and dreams of the princesses who were present in the cave. Ellie wakes up quickly and notices that the larvae are sticking in her burned foot and is afraid of the contamination of the wound from the larvae. But she is surprised when she notices that the burns are gone and her foot is back to normal. Then she grabs a larva and puts it in the burns that are in his arm and notices that the traces of the burns have also disappeared as if they had never been before. Ellie stands in front of the map and concentrates well to memorize it, then starts navigating inside the cave according to the map's description. She reaches a place where the sunlight is coming in and approaches it and discovers that the place is full of jagged rocks. She uses a crown for climbing, then cuts off her dress and wraps it in her hands and feet so as not to get hurt while climbing the jagged rocks. Ellie reaches the top of the rocks and finds herself in front of a hole in the mountain and rejoices a lot. Then she sees from a distance a group of knights and calls them loudly to save her, but no one hears her scream. Suddenly, the female dragon attacks Ellie and was about to kill her, but pulls back at the last moment after hearing someone's voice calling out to him. Ellie is also surprised to hear the person's voice because she didn't think someone would arrive to save her. But what Ellie doesn't know is that the knights she has seen since the opening of the cave are her father and two of the knights of his kingdom who have come to the cave to look for Ellie, who hears her father's voice calling her. Ellie returns to the cave again and tries to reach the source of the sound and finds on her way a place where there are dead female dragon babies, and then finally realizes the truth about what happened to the female dragon. We go back in time where we see the king in the cave with his soldiers standing in front of 3 female dragon eggs. The female dragon babies emerge from the eggs, but the king orders his soldiers to kill them to prevent the spread of dragons in the kingdom. But the female dragon was at the height of her anger because of the death of her young. Then she kills all the soldiers in revenge for the death of her cubs, and the king kneels before her and begs for mercy, as we saw in the story Lisa told Ellie. The female dragon decided to make a deal with the king and forced him to sacrifice his daughters and 3 daughters of his people until the last day of his life because of what he did to his cubs. We return to the present where we see that the female dragon attacks one of the knights of Byford with all ferocity, and the second knight tries to escape, but the female dragon crushes him under her feet. Ellie arrives at the place and sees the female dragon standing in front of her father, who raises his sword in front of her and tells her that he came to save his daughter. But the female dragon throws her to the ground and asks her to call Ellie because she senses it and knows that she is hiding. Byford is delighted when he discovers that his daughter is still alive. Byford apologizes to his daughter Ellie out loud because he made a mistake by agreeing to sacrifice her to save his kingdom from poverty. Ellie is very sad after hearing the words of her father, but stays hidden to avoid not be seen by the female dragon, who beats Byford, sinks her claws into his body, and asks him to call Ellie. The female dragon suddenly hears the sound of the movements of someone else who came with Byford, then moves in his direction because she thinks it's Ellie who is taking advantage, and goes to her father who was fighting against death in his last moments and asks Ellie to use ropes to escape outside the cave. Byford tells his daughter Ellie that she will find her sister Flora and her wife waiting for her in the ship, then asks her to forgive him for everything he has done. Ellie cries a lot and kisses her father one last kiss. Goodbye, then quickly runs to escape the female dragon, who discovers that the one hiding is not Ellie, then eliminates her. The female dragon starts looking for Ellie, who climbs the rope and reaches the opening of the mountain before the fire from the female dragon reaches her. Then she mounts her horse and runs fast, and on the way Ellie hides under the rocks, and the female dragon doesn't find her on top of the horse and starts looking for her everywhere but doesn't find her. The female dragon gets so angry and makes so much fire from her mouth that she turns the place into a big piece of flame. Queen Lisa sees what is happening and understands that Ellie ran away from her, then attacks Byford's ship where his wife and his soldiers are and kidnaps Ellie's sister. The next day, Ellie wakes up and rejoices when she notices that the female dragon has disappeared from the premises, but is surprised by the arrival of her stepmother, who tells her that Queen Lisa has kidnapped her sister Flora to present her with the female dragon in her place. Ellie decides to save her sister Flora and indirectly tells her stepmother that her father Byford has died. Queen Lisa is in the cave and asks her son Henry to mix her blood with Flora's blood, but Henry refuses and tells her that Flora is still young and is trying to stop her mother Lisa, who was determined on her decision, then mixes her blood with Flora's blood and throws her inside the cave. Ellie arrives at the cave and calls her sister Flora. Ellie goes down into the cave while the female dragon grabs her sister Flora, who has lost consciousness due to shock. And the female dragon flies her inside the cave and places her next to the corpses of her cubs and tells her that she knows her sister Ellie is looking for her to save her. Ellie uses the larvae to light her way into the cave. Ellie grabs the shields of the dead knights and puts them on top of each other in a strange way, then stands in front of her father's corpse and looks at it full of defiance. Then grabs her father's sword and turns to face the female dragon, who hears the sound of shields falling to the ground and quickly runs towards the sound source. Ellie reaches her sister Flora and helps her to stand up, then they try to hide behind a rock. After the female dragon returns to the place, Ellie appears in front of her and points her sword at her and tells her that the Queen Lisa tricked them together and told her the truth about what happened to her cubs. Ellie says that Lisa lied to everyone when she told them that the female dragon had attacked the people of the kingdom, and that's why the king decided to kill her cubs for no reason. Ellie tries to explain to the female dragon that she does not belong to the king's lineage, but the female dragon does not believe his words and attacks her. Ellie falls into the lake, and her sister Flora throws the sword at her to defend herself. and Ellie tries to reach the sword, but the female dragon attacks her again and assures her that she won't be able to escape from him, then digs in her claws into Ellie's body in order to make her feel the pain felt by her little ones. Ellie screams in pain, then grabs the knife and stabs the female dragon in her eye. The female dragon screams in pain and throws Ellie. Ellie grabs the sword and attacks the female dragon and stabs her in the stomach, but the female dragon catches her again and tries to crush her with his huge hand. Ellie stabs the female dragon in her hand and causes her severe pain, which causes the female dragon to throw her away, then pursues her again despite her injury, and it seems that Ellie feels tired and cannot run anymore. She finds a rock in front of her who manipulates the wind and turns her the other way, then thinks of a clever idea. Ellie stands in front of the female dragon and tries to provoke her to force her to release a large amount of fire, while Ellie moves towards the rock, then quickly moves away from the fire, and the rock returns the fire to the female dragon, who falls to the ground and is seriously injured by his fire but is still alive. Ellie stands in front of the female dragon and asks her to see the wound in her hands and assures her that Queen Lisa has deceived them all, and explains to her that she participated with Lisa in killing many girls who have no complaints upon the death of her cubs. The female dragon asks Ellie to kill her, and Ellie was about to kill her but backs off at the last moment. Ellie takes the larvae and puts them on the body of the female dragon to treat the burns on her body, and meanwhile, Lisa was present at the wedding ceremony of her son Henry with another girl. But she is shocked when she sees Ellie, who asks the girl Henry is going to marry to leave the premises. Ellie tells the girl that Lisa and Henry will present her as the new victim of the female dragon. Ellie asks everyone to leave the place or they will all be killed, but Lisa shouts at them and tells them that there is no need to be afraid of an ordinary girl like Ellie. Ellie surprises her when she tells her that there really is no need to be afraid of her, but that they should be afraid of the female dragon. Ellie and the female dragon unite to take revenge on Lisa. Then the female dragon takes out the flame from her mouth to eliminate Lisa and her son Henry. The next day, Ellie talks to her stepmother and her sister Flora and tells them that she issued a royal order as heir to the throne after the death of her husband Henry. Ellie asks her deceased father's wife to become the queen of the Aurea kingdom. She then gets on the ship with her sister Flora to return to their father's kingdom. The unexpected surprise is that the female dragon accompanies them to the kingdom to defend Ellie and her sister anywhere and anytime, and also protect the people of the kingdom. So, what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below. If you liked the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.